Now, before creating the category page, we need to adjust our the list of this, which is not actually the category list. As you see, that is our category list over here, which we are uploading that feature new accessories, woman, man, and t-shirt. So this is nowhere match with that. So it's match, but it's the similar, but the slag and other properties is not match over here. As you see, if we go back to the header, also if we just focused in the header menu, we are using some kind of header data, the static data, which are just maintaining to create this scenario. But we will just go and fetch our actual categories, right? That will, in that way, it will be more more sophisticated, and we can easily configure our properties. And to do that, in the header, as our header is still as in the server side, we didn't make it as a client yet. So here we can now configure and get our category properties. So right now, one more things which we need to adjust to create a function by which we can call our categories. So let's go over here in the hooks. I think we will go in our sanity, helpers, and the queries. So here we're going to create a new query. Previously we have the get the single product. Now we're going to also create another properties by which we can grab our categories, and that it will be export const get all categories. And of course it need to be an asynchronous function, as we are going to talk to the we're gonna share the data within the database, and it will be using the bandwidth. So we need to be async and wait. It can be wait, can be go on like that. So now let's stat const categories query, and here we're gonna define our query, which it will be with that define query. And within the defined query, we're going to just write our query parameter. And by the way, you can also check with your vision. Like in the vision, we can just simply type about the type of which will be that category. And we will just go with the order name ascending. We don't want just to put the name. We want everything, right? Whatever the properties has, it should deliver all of this. Okay, 0 item. Okay, there is one more things which we need to remove, is that condition. Okay, so it should be disappear from here. I think now we should be able to get all of our categories. Now if you just want to see how it will be look like, if we just provide the name, as you see, it's just coming out. Okay, the name, okay, let me just grab all, and we're gonna see it's coming with the title. So if we just grab the title, you're gonna see all the categories is actually make sense. We have the feature new accessories, t-shirt, woman, man. So in that similar way, we will grab it. So first thing in that queries, it will be a star mark. After this star mark, the third bracket, and then underscore type, which will be is equal to category. And after that category, we want it to be coming as order, which will be name ascending. Okay, so that will be the query for our categories query. And now similarly, like the previous function, we'll use a try catch block. Here in the catch, we'll just pass a log properties here in the console, just to define that, or you can go with the console.error instead of the log to just passing that actual error. So the error fetching all categories. Done. Now here in the try block, we will pass that const categories. It should be is equal to await, and now we're gonna make that sanity fetch properties, and from that value we're gonna pass the query, and the query should be our categories query. The categories query, and after passing the query, it should be retrieving the data. So you're gonna pass that return should be that categories dot data. If data somehow is not available, then also you're gonna pass an empty value. And now also, even we are having the error, you're gonna just pass an empty array. So right now I think this one looks perfect. So what you're gonna do now, we need to call that properties from our categories, like we will call it in the header. So let's go in the header, because remember the header menu we are calling especially in the header menu is in our we are calling it in the header. And by the way, the header menu actually is the use client property, so we need to go on like that way, so it will be easy and simple to understand. Now what we're gonna do here, there is one more things we need to go. Okay, we'll go that first. I'm gonna check if the data is coming or not, and as it's not to be, it should be here. We're gonna pass that, let's say const categories is equal to await get all categories. That's it. And now if we just make our log properties here, we should be able to see our categories. And I will just open my console here, and if we just save the product, let's hit save, and I believe we should be able to see the data value here. Okay, still I think it's compiling yet. Okay, we can see the data. I think it's just a minor network issue. So we can now see all of our categories is available here. Now you can just call the slag, and also like whatever the data you needed, you can just get it those data. But right now I'm gonna get everything. Okay, so now as we are having the data here, what we can do, we can pass the data to our menu section. So I'm gonna just grab that data from here. And after that, in that header menu, I'm going to just pass in the same category layer the data, right? Now, there is one simple possibility, as you see, that categories is passing as any. Remember, we have one tiny function here, which is going to be, let's say, npm run. If we go back to our packages, we just create that one as the type gen. So npm run, we're going to run our simple type gen, enter. So this will help us to get our like what you can say the types for our sanity types. And after that, it should not be related to showcase any, it should be providing an actual type properties. So let's go in the header menu. Now in the header menu, we can now call that categories. So we can just simply grab it, categories, and that categories, it should be, let's say the categories, it should be the categories of that okay, I think it should coming up there, still not yet. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just minimize that. If we go back here in the category, we should be able to see the category query list. So that's the actual form is coming over here. So we can just pass it, we can import it, and you see the type error, it just disappear. So right now we have that categories, right? So instead of passing that instead of passing that dummy categories which we are passing from the header data, I'm going to just remove that map to header data portion. So let's just remove it. We're not going to use it anymore. And here we're going to just simply pass our categories, right? So from the categories, simply I'm going to grab it not as an item, but I'm going to grab everything as a category. And on that category, let's just put everything in a proper way. So the key should be, let's say, category .id. That would be our key. And href here, because simply if we go back to our previous website, if we just click on that, as you see, it's going to the category, and we are just taking that with unique Slack properties. So that's the same thing we are going to we're gonna uniquely add it here. So it should be go in the page of, let's say, category, and after getting to the category, we're gonna dynamically render that our category, not categories, category Slack dot current. So that would be the link where it gonna go. And also for the design parameter, we should be passing that category dot slack dot current is equal to n if the path name is matched with that. And instead of that item, we're gonna simply pass our category. So let's say category, and also I think we're gonna pass the simple layer of this, so it will not be an issue with that. So instead of this two layer, I'm gonna remove that and I'm gonna replace this. Okay, done. If we done everything properly, as you see, we have featured, we have new, we have accessories, t-shirt, man. If we click on the featured, as you see, we are getting in the category and features, means it's working perfectly. But we didn't have that category page, so we need to create a category page. Remember, in that our app, on the client section, we're gonna create a different folder which will be named as category, and on that particular folder we're gonna go with to create a unique page that it will be Slack, right? And here we're gonna make that page.tsx or fce should be category page. Now if we just check over here, it should be found the page. You see the category page is just underlying here. No worries, we're gonna come back to create so many unique design here, but one simple thing we can just do that here is that instead of the div, we can simply pass that as a container. Should be container. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap that things up, container. And instead of passing that like that, I'm going to just make a padding y of 20. So we should have a like proper view of that category page. Right now on that category page, we should bring back those scenario by which we can render all of our products. And trust me, it's very simple. We're gonna do it similar, like because the same thing as home. Now there is one tab is missing, which is the home, because this tab is nowhere is near. So what I'm gonna do here in that header menu, we're gonna combine a separate page here by which we can actually passing that our home tab. Okay, so as you see, we have that categories layer and maximizing with that pushing that. I think we have a gap also. So right now I'm going to pass a link parameter here. On that link I'm going to just write that the home, and that home going to be href/home. So we should be able to see an home tab here, but there is no design parameter is running. So what I'm gonna do, pretty much doing the same effect which we are having here. So let's just go put the class name. I think, okay, put the class name, and the path name should be not the Slack or current, because we're gonna pass the path name as it just equal to as /home. Okay, then it gonna be activated. And by the way, also we need to pass that to properties, which should be that span tag, you know, the design parameter how we are underlying here, that should be maintained also. So after that home parameter, we will grab this, and instead of passing this to value, we can just simply pass that our /home, and I think that will be fine with that. As you see, we're having the home tag and the same decision, like the same design. If we go in the new, that home, it will be unselected, but new is not selected. That's really ridiculous. And why is that? Let's just go and define with that. So okay, we have the path name. Okay, that's I think that's the issue with that's not an issue here, but we have an issue in this segment. And why is that? Okay, because the path name is changed. Remember, we have the category segment here, right? So that's why we need to combine it. So it should be like that. Then we're gonna pass that category, and after passing the $sign, then we need to define that portion. I think you see the black color is just appeared. Now we need to wrap everywhere the same condition. So it should be over here. And also okay, it should be over here. So that's the category we're gonna choose, and also it should be over here. Okay, right now if we come in the feature should be selected. If we come back to the home is selected. The same parameter, same complementary things which we created, we're just doing it that. Now here, what you're gonna do, if you go in the feature, we should get that products by category and other properties. Now those the things we need to pour it up. Now before passing that, we need to go and understand why and how we are doing that, and how actually those things gonna work. Now remember, we are going to make that page it will be a server side by default for sure. Now what we're gonna do, we need to grab our, because as you see, if we click on that new, we are going that category new as in the params. So that's the same tag, we can just simply pass from there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna simply pass an asynchronous function. So it will be async because we need to get the params from there. Now here we're gonna pass the params, and that params going to be passing with that params, and that params, it will become like a promise in React 19 or also Next.js 15 upper. It should be coming on that way. Otherwise, you're gonna get an error once you're deploying your project. So here we're gonna pass that simple Slack parameter. So Slack, it should be an string. Okay, now if we just simply log our params, we should be see what kind of params we are having. So let's just make the log, and here let's pass the params. Okay, so I'm gonna open my terminal and we should be able to see the params here. Okay, let's go down a bit. Okay, so right now okay, I'll go backwards and then I'm gonna come back new, and something is off. Let me just refresh my page. I think I am in the proper page, right? I believe so. Okay, if I just make that one and pass that params. Okay, it's coming actually. We should be making a wait. Yeah, wait, because you know the asynchronous way is coming. As you see, the params in the Slack is coming the new, so we are getting the params which we are passing. So instead of writing this entirely, we can simply make that as a count should be on the Slack as with object. We can destructure it and should be await from the params. That's it. We are having our properties, and also we can get the categories. Remember, we have that categories. Const categories should be await get all categories. That's it. We have the categories, we have the Slack. Now in the container, we can particularly define our properties here, the value here, and how we can do that is very simple. Instead of writing those, I'm going to just simply pass our title component here, and in the title, we're going to pass that products by category, and after that, I'm going to pass an span tag. So here, we're going to pass if the Slack is there, we're going to just put in combination, only then we're going to pass the Slack. Okay, just be coming as a caution. See the products by category, and we are having the new. Right now for the title, what we're gonna do, class name text should be Excel, just a bit, I think, yeah, smaller case. And for the span tag, class name font should be, let's say, bold, and text should be green of 600. And I'm gonna make it a capitalize, and tracking should be little bit wide. Okay, now as you see, we have new, but why is capitalized is not working? That's really annoying. I think here is it working? Yeah, in feature new, yeah. If we go in accessories, okay, because it's already rendered, so it cannot change how it's gonna work, but it's actually working. Now after the title, we're gonna take a separate components here. In the components, we're gonna name it the components as the category product. So category products.tsx. So this will be the component where we're going to render each and every single thing. How we can do that is very simple. First, we're going to call it here after the title. So it should be category products. And on the category products, remember the beauty is here, we are calling everything in the server side, right? All the products, all the categories. Now, that's the beauty. If you get it in the server side, it's already prefetched, predefined, so loading time is a little bit less, like it's less, right? As you see, it's coming very swift, so no client side call, we are calling it in the server. But remember, see, once we change the new, we should be rendering that separation. See the product? Because categories, as you see, what I want to understand, in the feature, we call the categories by itself in the server. So categories, it will be always there. But once we select the category, see the product is changing. So that's the same thing we already did in the home. Whenever we call the product is, we are fetching it in the client side. That's the same thing we're gonna do. Categories is loaded, but we are just loading the product. So by that way, we can show the user the loading instances, show the user this is coming or what the status is going on. Everything we can show the user in a perfect and good way. Okay, so right now from here, I'm gonna pass that our let's say categories. Category should be our categories, and also I'm gonna pass the Slack should be our Slack. That's it. So there's two properties I'm gonna combine, and these two things gonna work properly in this segment here. So here first we're gonna get our categories, we're gonna get our Slack, right? And also we need to define that, let's say, interface. We're gonna pass it everything as a props, and on the props, the categories, it should be the categories queries. And also for the Slack, we know the Slack is just simply an string, so we're gonna pass that string itself. And here on that particular instances, we're gonna pass everything as props. That's it. Now our component is ready. So remember the same thing, we are now going to be render our category in the left, product on the right. So this two scenario we're gonna cover up. And how we can do that is also pretty much simple in this way. So first there should be two div here. So div into two. Okay, one it will be left, like say one it will be categories, and another it would be our products. Two separate div going to be aligned here, as you see. Now these things going to be naturally working perfectly because we're going to make it to work in perfect way. Put a class name, padding y should be 5 to providing a vertical providing a vertical gap here so that it should be aligned in proper way. And after that also we can do is that we can make it a flex should be column, and md flex should be row. So once we are in the bigger screen, it should be row aligned, and item should be start, and gap should be 5. So these two properties going to be done with the same scenario. Now for this particular div instances, we're gonna make it look in a proper way. Should be flex should be column properties, and meet the minimum, like in the medium devices, minimum width should be 40. Okay, and we're gonna pass a border. Now why we are doing that, as you see the minimum width 40 is around 160 pixels. So as you see we have 160 pixel, at least minimum. It can go in a maximized way, whatever the text you provide it will take that, but minimum it will take this much. And also for our product instances, just put a class name. I'm gonna make a width should be taking full, or we can just pass that flex should be 1, and let's say bg rate, it will take this all other properties which is aligned. You can make it an flex 1, or you can just simply put that with full, the same thing it will do. It's up to you how you prefer. But first it's time to render the categories. So let's just make that categories.map everything I'm gonna taking as a category, and from there I'm gonna return a simple button from my UI button, and on that button I'm gonna pass that, let's say category dot. I think if you take the category, it's making the annoying thing is just passing the categories as the first topic. I don't want that. So I'm going to take it as item.title. You can make it the way you want, right? So the key should be item.id. Done. So you should have a render some button here, as you see, feature, new, accessories, t-shirt, main. So all things here, but from there we need to make this one look like this. So it's pretty simple. We'll just make it the class name and it will be look perfect. So put a class name, and here we're going to go with that backtick because we need to go and use some other properties. First, the background color should be transparent, so there should be no background at all. Also we're going to make a border should be 0. So should be no border, and also rounded should be none. So means all the default properties we are just removing. And then text should be dark color, so the black text should be appear. Okay, cool. And let's say shadow should be none. Okay, no shadow, nothing at all. You see, it's perfectly aligned and simply looks gorgeous. But there is so many other properties we should be affecting on here. And how we can do that, once we are hovering, the bg should be dark color. Once we hover, text should be our white color, and font should be, let's say, semi bold. And also I'm going to pass that hover effect to just passing an effect whenever we are hovering, as you see. Okay, cool. And now also I think it's better to provide a border b. So all time there will be a border on the b, but you see that border there is 2, because there is the, I think for the last one, I want to make border should be 0. Border b should be 0. Okay, so the last one we have no border, it will just indicate getting the border how it's supposed to be. Now what are you gonna do if our item dot slack dot current is equal to, now here we need to pass the current slack, and that's where we need to make it as a use client component, because right now whenever we click we can just handle our current slack properties. So I'm gonna first make it as a use client because I know the error is coming at the top. Now what I'm gonna do, const current slack, and it should be set current Slack, and it will coming as a user state. By default, the Slack which is coming at the first, it should be as a current Slack. So whenever I come here, by whatever Slack I click, as you see, I coming from the accessories, click accessories is already selected. Go back to the home, coming from the man is selected the man. So that's the one we want to create. So whatever the Slack we are coming, that should be our first priority. So the Slack.current is equal to, we need to mention that our, let's say, it will be the current Slack, and we're gonna make that bg should be dark bg, and text should be white, and also border should be dark color. That's it. So right now, as we are having that feature is selected, if we go in the new is selected. So right now we know which one is selected or not. So every time we click something, I want that one to be my selected properties, right? And that for this one, I'm gonna just simply make an on-click event here, on-click function by itself, and that should be, let's say, set current Slack. It should be item.slack.current, and that one passing that as a string value. We know that. So every time we click, t-shirt selected, man selected, feature selected. Now for that hover effect, you can also make it a little bit less darker. So let's say I'm gonna make it as 80% opacity, so whenever you hover, at least not getting that effective value, right? It's up to you how you prefer the design. So right now we have our current Slack. So with that particular Slack, we need to get our products first. After getting the product, we can now passing the products here to showcase what kind of products it would be. And to do that, first we're gonna take the properties here. So should be two separate properties, const products, set products, and should be user state as an empty array, and then we're gonna pass also loading, and should be set loading, and then user state by default it should be as a false value. Now we have two properties. One is that product, set products, loading, set loading, two value, right? Now we need to fetch our products. How we can fetch that? We're gonna just simply write a function, should be fetch products is equal to, we need to make an asynchronous function, and here we're going to pass our category, not category. Remember, we need to go with the category Slack, and that category Slack, it should be, we are passing our own Slack by itself. So we're going to pass it as, say, category Slack. Did we need to, okay, I'm going to pass that category Slack, and that should be passing as a string value. Okay. And from there we will define our function. So it should be, let's say, try catch block, and on the finally we're gonna just make that our set loading should be set loading as an empty, or not empty but false. Now on the catch block, we're gonna just make that, let's say, console dot error. On the error, we're gonna pass that error fetching products, just to see the error if we are having any. Now we need to fetch our product. Now every time, remember, we can actually fetch our entire product throughout our Slack.current properties, and how we can do that is actually depends on our, like, whenever I go in the try block, first I'm gonna make it as true, right? Then I'm gonna make my query. So the query should be within the backtick, and here we're gonna pass that our star mark, the signature mark, underscore type should be is equal to, and here we're gonna pass that it should be the product, and now we need to reference that, right? So should be references, the reference, because it would be go in the multiple references. So let's go here, and in the references we will write a separate property of type, and that should be underscore type should be is equal to, let's say, that first instant it should be category. So that first the category parameter it will be taking, and then and the Slack dot current, and that should be is equal to the category Slack which we're gonna provide. So category Slack, right? So if it's matched with that, and after passing that, we need to pass that underscore ID. So the category Slack it gonna match, and then it gonna match with the actual ID. And of course we want that one should be order, and that it be name ascending. So that would be our typical query. As you see, first we are going back to the product. We are just forecasting all the products, but now all of the products which have the reference is the category and Slack.current. And what it means, whatever product has that new available here, if we just roll back to our products here, and I'm gonna just go in our studio here, you can see each and every single product have either linked with any of that category, so the references can be extracting from there. Just give it time to load from these instances. Now if we just click any of the product, I want to show you the reference, so it will be really make a sense on you. So now if we just go in the description for our particular product here, as you see, every single product have this product type, either jacket, pants, hoodie, shorts, others. That's the one thing. And we have the categories, t-shirt, new. So the reference is going to be forecasting from this, either is added on that categories or not. So that reference going to be occurred from there. Okay, so now once you are just dealing with that, it will be really making a simple sense here. So first thing first, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just simply write that const data. It should be await, because we need to go to call our client, and from the client client.fetch, we're gonna just simply pass our query, the query which we written there, and that should be passing that our category Slack. Because remember, we are passing that category Slack here as a prop, so that prop should be aligned. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just simply make the log, which would be log, let's say if we are seeing any data here, we're gonna just simply pass the data. Now we write the function, right? It will not work yet because we didn't call it yet, right? So let's just console, go in the console, we're gonna just check how it's gonna come at the first instances. So simply we are going to run an use effect hook. So use effect, so every time the data scenario is changed, remember our current Slack should be changed, and that should be called our data. So every time the current Slack change, it would be calling that particular data. Now in the fetch product, we need to pass a property which is passing as the category Slack, because I changed the different name, because if I put the current Slack also here, the current Slack is going to having some confusion. So here I'm going to just pass simply the fetch product, and I'm going to pass my current Slack. So every time the current Slack is changed, product should be called. As you see, we have 3 products here. If we go in the featured, you see we have 1 product here. If we go in the t-shirt, we have 8 product here, and you're gonna see that really making a lot of sense here. So as the data contains all the properties, so I'm going to just simply make that set products and should be available our data. Now what we're going to do here, first thing first, in that particular div here, so as we define that it should be full properties, so in the products layer we're going to just simply write some of the condition. The first condition, it will be once there is the loading, we're going to pass the loading instance, and if the loading instance is done, we're going to check also if we have that products. Remember, actually we did those things, and you know where, if we go in the page, if we just go directly in the client, remember this product grid, the same thing, the same functionality we have been doing here. Is the products.length is coming, then we are passing those value, passing this product card, animate presence. I think you can just simply copy from there. You see those entire layer, the loading, from that loading I'm going to copy those. Okay, let's see. So those data we have, so the same thing from the loading I'm going to copy here, and also I need to pass that loader data itself from the low-side React. I need to pass that product type. I need to pass that animate presence from the motion React. I need to import the motion. I think the motion, it will be imported not like that. You need to just simply go and here pass that motion. Okay, motion is done. Then there is some other properties. We need to pass that product grid, and also we need to pass that no product, and instead of passing that selected tab, we will just pass that current Slack. Okay, that's it. I think we're done. You see, no products available. If you go in the feature, okay, there is something which we really need to mention here. As you see, the MT of 10 which we provided before in that particular instances, that would be nothing. We have the feature product, we have the new product, we have the accessories, we have the t-shirt. As you see, everything is just momentarily making a sense. Okay, the no products available, that one also we can, you know, because everything we make in a systematic way that we can pass every value. So the margin top should be 0, and it will take, by default is taking the full weight, it will take the full weight. So the margin top value, it will be 0. But I think the no product available, the class name, yeah, we just missed out, we didn't pass that, so you need to pass the class name. That's it, simply done. Now here, if we go here, now there is one thing which you can do. You can take it a challenge, you can try it as your home. Okay, there is the new, there is the accessories. Remember this, did you see that? It's not changing. That is really messy. I think if we have that problem in the production, yeah, that one is not changing. You see that? So that you can do it, right? You can take the challenge, what category you want to show, products by category, because this one is not changeable, as we are calling it in that our particular, that slack.params is actually the heading towards on that. So either you can do that, or you can just simply remove that. I'm gonna just make it comment. If you cannot do it by yourself, let me know in the comments. I will try to resolve it and let it know by yourself. And there's the two things. One is that, one is the other one. When you go in the t-shirt, you see, once we are just scrolling, you can make it as a fixed. You see the products by category, that would be fixed, that should be scrolled by itself. So this, you know, so many design props and parameters you can create. It's up to you, the way you prefer, you can do it. Now it's time for us to go in align with our cart page. So as you see, okay, we can after you logged in, we will be able to see our cart. So I'm going to log in to just view my cart here. Okay, and continue. Okay, so that's the cart which we need to prepare. So let's go, and I think, yeah, so let's go back here. I think we have been done those things. So if we go in the cart, now is our time to create our cart page in a very good fashion. Now, one thing to remember in our, okay, I'm gonna close it all from here, that in our cart, everything going to be the products, it should be coming from our state, right? So if you want to show the product at the very instant, either you can do a separate components that you can call your cart in the page, or you can simply go and just take it in the next level. Just what I'm gonna do is pretty simple way. I'm gonna make this entire page as use client. It will not make any error or make any problem here. And also I'm gonna just make a simple condition here. Let's say you can do it like create a simple hook like is client, and let's say set is client, and I'm gonna make it a user state, and which going to be a false value. And what I'm gonna do, every time anyone coming on this page, I'm gonna just simply make it call that set is client should be true, right? And I'm gonna drop that, and it should be coming back. Now here I'm gonna just simply write a function if no client properties is okay, no is client, now is client, that should be return our loading. Loading, we have our loading. Did we have any global loading yet? Did we create that? I think we should be, let's say we have a loader function, of course. Loader. Okay, we didn't create any loader. That's the issue. But how we showcasing that? If we just go in our previous application, let's say that's our loading. Okay, if we go, yeah, that's the global loading we need to create. You see the Toulouse is loading. Yeah, that's the global loading we will create here. So that's we need to create in the components. We will create a loading .tsx rfce. So this one will be responsible just to pass all the loading parameters. So it should be, let's okay, what's happened? So loading. Okay, so right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just remove that condition so that you can see the loading instance is running. Now we will create a loading parameter. It's also pretty simple and nice to create in that way. So first thing first, in that initial div, I'm gonna make another div, and here I'm gonna pass my logo. In the logo, I'm gonna pass the same value, Toulouse. Okay, so we have the logo, and after the logo we should be having a motion dot div. And in that motion div, we're gonna pass the other parameter. So let's import the motion. Import motion from that should be motion react. Okay, So in that motion, we will simply passing a loader2 icon. So after the loader2 icon, we will pass a span parameter that should be saying Toulouse is loading dot dot dot. So as you see, the value is just here, but we're gonna make it looks in a perfect way. So first, in that div instances, I'm gonna make it a fixed value, and min height should be screen, and width should be full, bg should be white color, and from the left 0, from the top 0, and entire things should be flex, item center, justify center. That's it. So everything should be in the middle, as you see. And now we also need to combine it in a proper way. I think I want the header to be seen. Okay, if we go here, okay, let's go home. If we go back home, if we reload, okay, in the card, yeah, that should be below the headers. I think that really makes the sense. So here in that div instances, what I'm, because if we just give the value of z index, that z50, you know, it will also be top of the header, but we don't want the header to be invisible. Less header should be there, so like the people can move in different screens. Now in that div, also make it a class name, flex call, justify center. I'm gonna make it a gap 1. So entire thing is going to be in a gap instances. Okay, item center we did, but it's not properly aligned. I think, yeah, it's aligned. So I think that's the div which we need to work on that. So put a class name, flex, item center, justify. Let's say I'm gonna make it space x should be 2, and also let's say text should be green. Okay, green of 600, or I can say pass in 800 value. Okay, yeah, that's 2 should be together. Now for that loader, put a class name that should be animate spin. So it will always make in a spinning mode. And for the span tag itself, let's put a class name, font should be semi bold, and tracking should be white. So that's the text property. And now this motion, we will refer how it's going to be coming up. If you just look it closely here, if we go back here, that's actually moving, you know, it's expanding a little bit. So in that div, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it an animate motion. That animate motion, it should be, let's say, the scale should be, I'm going to provide a value. First it will be 1, then it will be 1.1, after that it will be coming an original shape of 1. So it's going to moving forward. And here also I'm going to pass the transition, and that transition I'm going to make it a repeat, and that should be infinity, so it will always be repeatable, and the duration should be 1.5 millisecond. So if we just come back here, I think we are in the card. So if we come back in the card, you see it's just going bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller, like that. So right now, as we are having, you can also use it as a global loader, right? If we just create a loading instances in that shifting layout mode, also we can go back here, and as you see in our client app, we can just minimize all. In the app on the client, we can create a loading parameter, loading.tsx rfce, so that should be the loading. And here, whenever our page going to have a loading parameter, that would be taking our loading component. That's it. That's how simple it is. So it's very simple and pretty compact to use in that way. So now here, okay, there is something wrong. Okay, now in the card is always showcasing, because remember what is there. Okay, invalid class function components got undefined. Okay, so it's in the card. So let's go in the card. Right now I'm going to just simply pass that, uncheck the null value. So right now if we just check, yeah, that should be okay. Okay, what is that? Undefined. You likely forgot to export your component file is defined. That's the loading we called here. If we go back the loading, export default loading. What else? We didn't use any other properties, right? So no client, it should be returned that. I think we're good, but why it's having the issue? If no is client, and also if we just pass that, is it providing that error? Okay, React.js type is invalid, expected is string for building component class function or opposite undefined, forget to. Okay, where is that? Okay, let me see in that our terminal. Okay, so if we go back to our particular pages here, okay, let's go there. It's actually rendering from the categories, really. Okay, that's the categories. If we go back to the home, now we reload, that's coming everywhere. Let us find it from where it's coming. That's actually coming for this loading instances. Expected is string for building components. Okay, that's really annoying, because right now if we just fork, okay, there is one more thing is there. This, you see that we are using the motion, because that motion, it will not be using that server side properties, so we need to pass that use client flag. That was the error only. But remember, you know, the server side can be not momentous to providing some house pose error, you know, so you need to just go on how you can configure it. Okay, now in the page, because I think that is not the error anymore, so we know that, so we are providing as client. So if it's not, like if we are making it is not client, so it will just loading the property, going to be loading as usual. So right now what we need to do, we need to grab our card properties. So from where we gonna get that? So simply we'll grab it. So I'm gonna pass everything below of it, right? Or you can also do it here. We can just simply make that const. First, from the object itself, it should be coming from that use card store. So from the card store, what we want to get in the card. First, we're gonna get the delete card product. We're gonna get the total price. We're gonna get the get item, like the card item count. You're gonna get, and also we're gonna get the subtotal price. We're gonna get that receipt card action. So those are the things we really want. And now one more things also we want to also check the user, if user is available or not. So how we can grab the user should be let's say const user should be use user, which going to be getting from the client. It will work as the client side. So right now for the user perspective masses, as I am logged in, it will be giving the providing the value, but you know, we will just check the value what we want to pass it through. So first in that div itself, we are going to write a simple condition, and that should be is sign in. Why is not passing me that? Okay, not sign, it should be signed in. Still is not providing. That's really annoying. Sometimes you can grab it, sometimes it's just not providing you the sense. So I'm gonna just individually pass that at the top. So what we need to do is that to grab that is sign in method from there. Let's say actually, we can grab this method from here. We can just simply pass that from the auth. We can directly structure. We are going to use that use auth. I think use auth also from the Clark Next.js. I think no, not Clark React, should be Clark Next. Yes. Now here we will just pass the method is signed in. So that method going to check if we have the user or not. So let's go back here. If it's signed in is available, then we're gonna pass our container, you know, the container value. So user, we can also pass simply that user dot full name, you know, that things we can pass. And if it's not signed in, we can just go in the other value. And by the way, you can also grab it from the user. If you don't want to use auth, you can also grab it from the user. So here we're gonna take a simple component here, which would be no access to the card component. So let's see it, no access to card.tsx rfce. So that will be responsible to showcase that you are not authorized to just see that card. Okay, right now we have the user, so we get that message, but I'm gonna just go with the passing that null check value, you know, so we know what kind of things going to be appearing once we are not logged in. Whenever we are not logged in, we're gonna make a simple conditioning here. As you see that overall div, we're gonna just put a class name here, should be flex, item should be center, justify center. I'm gonna make a padding y should be 12, md padding y, let's say medium skin padding y should be 32, and bj should be gray of 100, and padding should be 4. Okay, that is how it's gonna be looking like. No access to cart. And within this ratio, I'm gonna grab the cart properties from UI cart, and on that I'm gonna pass a cart header, and on that header, in that div itself, I'm gonna pass first our logo, right? So that would be the logo and Toulouse. And after, I think the card is not imported yet. Okay, so you see the logo itself is here. Now in that card, also after that logo, so after that div, we're gonna pass a card title, and there we're gonna pass that welcome back. Okay, so that's the simple message we can create. In the card, we will make some of that class name. Okay, class name. By default, it will take the full width, but max width should be MD. Okay, so that should be the maximum width properties. And for the card header, I'm gonna also provide a space. So class name space y should be, let's say, 1. SPACE space y should be a proper gap over here. And on the div itself, flex justify center to provide that in the middle. And also for the card title, let's go and make that class name as should be, text should be 2XL, and font should be bold, and text should be center aligned, so it will be coming at the middle. Now after that, we're gonna pass that card content. So the card header is done. We're gonna pass that our card content. In the content, we're gonna pass a p tag, should be say login to view your card items and checkout, and should be don't, and we're gonna pass that and a pause. Don't miss out on your favorite products. That's it. So that's the simple text ratio. And after that, we're gonna pass that sign in button from the clerk, and on that button we're gonna pass our button here, which will say sign in, and on that button we're gonna pass the mode, should be passing a model. And also for that sign in button, put a class name which should be take a full width, font should be semi bold, and I'm gonna pass a size which should be an like a large button. Okay, so we have that sign in button already there. So in that card content, we're gonna simply make that class name space y should be 4, just to provide a reasonable gap for every single component. Okay, SPA, that's the mistake I'm always doing. Okay, so sign in, and after sign in, on that, after passing that card content, we can also pass that card footer. In that card footer, I'm gonna pass a div. On the div should be don't, and also passing that an oppose, and here it should be have an account. And if you don't have an account, basically what we are doing, we are passing maybe that sign up button, and on that sign up button we're gonna pass a button properties again, and let's say create an account, and also the mode should be our model mode. And of course, for the button, we should be passing a variant type. So the not the value should be variant, should be outline, and we're gonna pass that class name which should be full, and also the size should be, let's say, LG. Okay, so don't have an account, you can create an account anytime. As we are passing that card footer, this class name flex column space y should be 2, just passing a proper gap. If you click on that right now, as you see, because we have the user, so it will not reflect on that. So what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna remove the null check, and we have the user. First, I'm gonna log out, so that it should be, as you see, if we go in the cart right now, okay, we can now go with that. So cart, and we need to sign in. Click on sign in, go in the Google, and then come back with our own account, and we should be able to go and view the pages and everything just perfect. So I'm having here Now, as we have the access and the properties, it's time to showcase our product, right? So now we need to just forecast our like the products. As you see, we have our sign in. Now also we can now check up if we have the products or not. Remember, we have one grouped, I think. No, we there is one components which we use for getting the grouped items. Remember, if we go back to our store, that grouped items going to be, remember, are just passing that all the cart items, right? So now we can call this one, I think, because as it's a function, it should be, yeah, grouped items, just calling right here. And if we just log, let's see if we can have that grouped items. Get grouped items, enter. And now we can see the log if we are getting any item from there. Okay, it's just a function, so it will not be passing. Or if we just combine, you see, we can now pass the items, like we have all the products item from the group product, we can just see. So this actually kind of work on that sense. So right now, if we are having that, we can just simply, instead of that console log, we can pass that const cart products is equal to get grouped items. So right now, as we are having the cart product, so we can now simply go with that, like if we have the cart products, or if we just have doesn't have the, because right now we have the login instance, right? So also we need to check if we are having the products or not, right? So here we will check with a single condition. If we have that cart products dot, if the length is available, then we're gonna pass that a like a self-closing a p tag here, products. And if we doesn't have the cart products, we can now passing another simple components which will grab us to provide an empty cart scenario. So it should be empty cart.tsx, and just gonna import that empty cart here. So right now we're gonna show the product, so I'm gonna go and make the null check. So you see the empty cart is just popping up. So in that empty cart, we can make a little bit a good design sense here. As you see, if we go back our this current one, I'm going to receive the entire card. You see, it's just showcasing here that your card is feeling lonely, and you see the effect, the animation ratio, how it's going on. So that's the same thing we are going to create right here. Instead of this, you're gonna see those things. So to do this one, I'll go in that empty card component. Let's close this and this. Here we're gonna go in a very specific manner. So first thing first, remember we have one image. I'm gonna call that, and of course, as we're going to use the motion, I need to make it as a use client flag, use client, and it should be import empty card from, it should be add images. Why the add is not working? It should be I think we have the images directory or not. Did you bring our images? No, we don't have our images. Okay, cool. Till now we was working without the images. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pass that images directory here. So also I'm gonna just provide that one once we are going to pass back our properties. So that time I'm gonna provide that entire link setup, because I'm gonna push that link to GitHub so that you can have all the products images. You see, all the product images you can directly just grab from here. And as you see, the empty cart, loader image, logo, and this for the vary. So I think this one will not tick it there, so I can just remove this scenario from here. Okay, done. So now we want to use an empty card image, so should be images, and from there it should be empty card.png. And right now we're gonna just render our product image by so far to make it looks in perfect or better way. So should be our image tag coming from next image, and in the source property, source should be empty card, and also the alt tag should be empty card image. Okay, done. So we should be seeing one empty card properties. So right now we'll go start from this tip itself. So the padding y should be 10, and MD padding y should be 20, and after that pj should be gradient, and that be to bottom, and it will start from, let's say, from blue of 50 to, I think we just simply make it white. Flex, item center, justify center, padding 4. That's it. So this is coming right here, but it's not making the sense of that, so we can combine it to make it looks like that. In that image, before taking the image, we will render it with a motion dip. So there's actually 2 motion dip should be itself gonna align. So first I'm gonna take my motion to import it, motion from motion react. So here that one should be motion.dip, and that will be entire div itself. And after that, okay, I'm gonna make another div here for my image, should be motion.dip, and here I'm gonna pass the image. And for the top layer motion itself, there we're gonna make some properties, so that class name, it will be rendering that background color should be white, and also rounded should be 2 axle, and then shadow should be axle. And after that, padding should be 8, and max width should be MD, and width should be full by itself, and also space Y should be 8. Space Y should be 8. So that's the div properties. So that's the layer which we created. So now this motion itself, as you see, once we reload, it's not if we just come back here, it's not coming at a time, it's providing some instinct to render. Okay, so that's the same motion, it's effect we're gonna provide here. So what we're gonna do, just simply you're gonna define that initial, that should be opacity should be, let's say, 0, and Y should be 20, and also it gonna be animating. So the animate, it should be, let's say, opacity should be 1 and Y should be 0. And after that also we're gonna pass that transition, let's say transition, and here we're gonna pass that only the duration should be 0.5, so 0.5. Now if we reload, it should be coming from the bottom to top, just a little bit slide. Okay, now after itself, we need to make the image looks in a better positioning. So let's go over here. Remember, we used that animate effect, and here we just pass that scale properties. Here the first instance should be 1, and that should be 1.1, and then 1. So one is the scale property, another should be the rotate value. Remember, the side by side rotate instance is happening, so that's the one which we create. 0. That one would be from 0 to, just say, 0, and then we're gonna pass to 5, then the -5 value ratio, and then the 0. Okay, so a little bit a slide, like you see that slide effect is going on, like left to right, right to left. That's the animation going to effect on that. And also we need to pass that transition from here. So the transition, we're gonna make that repeat. Okay, I think yeah, should be repeat, and that repeat going to be infinity. And after that, duration should be, let's say, just simply 5, and it should be easy in out. Okay, so now if we reload, we should be able to see the rotation value. Okay, as you see, but it's a very big image, so we need to make it highlighted a bit. So class name, that should be, I'm gonna make it I think instead of making that one here, or we can make that, we can provide the class name for sure, but also in the top layer we can pass the class name, and I'm gonna make it as a width should be 48 and height should be 48, MX auto just to be aligned in the middle. So you see, looks cool. And for the image property also, I'm gonna make some class name over here, that should be, let's say, drop shadow. Let's say LG. So the drop shadow should be LG, just to make it a little bit clear on the effect itself. And also we can just combine, like let's say object contain, and then we can just make that layout. So should be layout, let's say fill. Okay, There's a lot of other things which I can do, and also I think that's that much enough for right itself. So right now, and also the field properties is not required in this segment. Yeah, you can go without field also. So as we are having that, one more property is required is the motion. This cart itself is moving with that. So to just go align with that, I'm gonna make it as a relative div, not require relative. And after passing that relative on that particular itself, I'm gonna make that another motion.div, and here I'm gonna pass that a shopping, let's say shopping cart icon, and that icon I'm gonna provide the size of 24, and also the class name text should be white. You will not see anything because it's the white color. So what I'm gonna do, and the div itself, it should be a class name. I'm gonna make it as an, okay, something I messed up. Okay, class name, I'm gonna make it an absolute. From minus top it would be 4, and from minus right it would be also 4 to be okay. I'm gonna also make a background a blue color of 500, rounded full, and padding should be 2. So you should be having to see one icon. You see the icon is available here, but that icon also is moving forward and backward by itself. So the thing is, I'm gonna just go and copy this entire things from there, and on this parameter I'm gonna implement that. So this one, instead of that animates, instead of that scale, I think I'll not provide this scale. I'm gonna provide that x value. So the x should be, let's say 0. Then we're gonna also make that minus 10, then also 10, then 0, and also you're gonna provide a y value. Then y similar effect going to be that 0, minus 5, 5, and 0. Okay, so the duration, it will not be 5 by 3, and also easy should not be that easy in out. I'm gonna just make it a linear properties here, linear properties. So as you see, if we just reload that, it should start working on particular instant movement, and you're gonna see, you see this looks quite well. Yeah, same properties. Now our major thing is done. Now it's very simple to go work on the other properties itself. So what I'm gonna do after the div itself, I'm gonna taking another div here. I'm gonna put an h2, you saying that your card is feeling lonely. Okay, then a p tag, and then we can just pass it, looks like you haven't, so an oppose haven't added anything to your card yet. Then let's and change and find some amazing products for you. Okay, done. So we have our text, and after passing the text, I think we can just make rewrite in a proper way. So class name text should be, let's say center, and space y should be 4. Okay, and for the p tag, it's like h2 itself. Put a class name, text should be 3XL, font should be, let's say bold, and text should be gray of 800. And for the p tag, we can just render in a very little motion. Class name text should be gray of 600. So that's it. One more parameters is needed after this div. I'm going to simply take a link parameter here from our next link, and that href should be providing the href for the home. Here we're going to make that, let's say it will be discover products, a simple button which will handling to go this effect here. Just to make these things look work in a perfect ratio, put a class name, and I'm going to make it a block parameter. Let's say bj should be dark color with a 5% of opacity, and then I'm going to pass a border, and the border should be dark color of 20% of opacity. Text should be center, padding y should be 2.5, and rounded should be full, and I'm going to make it a small text properties. Font should be semi bold, tracking should be wide, and whenever we're going to hover on that, border should be dark color, onsite hover, bj should be dark color, onsite hover, text should be white, and I'm gonna pass that hover effect just to provide our effect, the one which you're looking for. If we click, it will directly take back to our home properties. Let's go back to the cart. Now as we are having the product, we are not going to showcase this ratio. I'm just gonna remove that, and our entire thing's gonna coming up. So we're gonna just add some product just to see what kind of visible ratio it will be there. As you see, that's the same thing, image and other properties, and we're gonna go in a simple way and other, just look it in a nice and proper. Just to go and define on those ratios, so in the card we should have two, one left side, one right side. These two properties we need to create. So as you see in that div, I'm gonna having like first I'm gonna having a div which going to say, let's say it will be a shopping bag icon, and after icon we're gonna pass an h1. It will be saying that shopping cart. You can use that component which we created for the title. You can go with that. So right now in the container itself we will make that something, or I think it's better to just shifting down here, class name bj should be gray of 50, and then I think I'm gonna make it a padding bottom of 52 and md padding bottom of 10, just to go in that ratio. And again I'm saying my entire design is for the responsiveness, so whatever the class name I'm typing, it will be either for the effect of responsiveness. And the container, I'm gonna keep it as simple as it is. So the class name should be, let's say okay, there is one thing which there's things like, okay, so now in the div, making a flex, item should be center, gap should be 2, and I'm gonna make a padding y should be 5, just to giving a proper alignment. So that's the small alignment which we are giving here. After that shopping bag icon, I think for this one, I think we can just simply make that directly here. Text should be text, I think default text. Okay, I'm gonna keep this one as default. So right now for the shopping parameter, put a class name, text should be 2xl, font should be, let's say, semi-bold. So we have the shopping cart. Okay, so it's time to showcase the product, how it would be just rendering our entire product scenario. So after this div, that's the top layer of the div, we're gonna render another div, and on that div itself we're gonna showcase the product. So within that div we should be having two properties, right? I can say because we are having, as you see, if we go back in our smaller screen, you see the different menu is coming. So that menu is going to be in different ones. We are having to be in a proper shape. So first there should be one menu which going to showcase our entire product, and there would be like another, like if I say should be summary. So one will be the summary, so summary div will be there, and another will be showcasing that our products. Okay, so in that products, for right now what we can do, instead of rendering this one into separate div, I'm gonna take this within entire div ratio, so it will be on a single div properties, and over this div I'm gonna make this one like this. Top one should be a class name, I'm gonna make it a grid, and lg should be grid columns of 2, and I think 3 should be better, and md gap should be 8. So you know, so that in a larger screen it should be the providing a 3 columns of grid, otherwise it will be fine. Now also this instance here for the class name, I'm gonna also make this one, and whenever I'm gonna go in lg screen should be call span of 2, which you're gonna take the 2 row and rounded should be lg. So the thing, it will work like that. You see that image and the products ratio, it's gonna go to, like if we divide the weight in a 3 ratio, so 2 it will take the products, 1 it will take the summary, like that. Okay, so now we can showcase the product. As you see, we have the product in line here in the grouped items parameter. So we can now go over in this ratio on the product. Here we can just simply pass another div here. On the div we can just make that group products, not group products, I think we make that name of the cart products dot, we're gonna just map through it, and we're gonna just simply define to grad the product. Remember, if you can just make simple log on that, you're gonna see the product is coming as an object. So now we're gonna just return a simple parameter which should be, or we can just, instead of writing this sense, we're gonna just make this way. Okay, from that parameter we're gonna return what you're gonna return. You're gonna return a simple div here. And why we did that? Because we need a variable called item count. This one, it will only come once the product ID we are providing, right? So here we're gonna just simply passing a p tag which going to render that, let's say it will be product dot name. As you see, it's type safe, so it will always giving the same property. So key should be product underscore ID. If we save, we should be seeing 3 particular products. Good. So it's working in perfect way. So that should be that ratio. And another one, it would be, I'm going to just make some text here for the summary. That one should be class name, and LG call span should be 1. That how it's gonna be. And after that particular div, we're gonna take another div and passing an h2, we'll say order summary. So there we're gonna showcase the summary. One side it will be details, one side it will be the summary. And for the summary itself, in the div, we can make that class name. By default it will be hidden. MD should be inline block, because we're gonna have 2 set of summary, which should be full, and BJ should be white background, padding should be 6, rounded should be LG, and we're gonna pass the border ratio. So that's the summary it's gonna be. And I'm gonna just make that one align so that you're gonna understand that there is something. So text should be Excel, font should be semi bold, and margin bottom should be 4. That is the order summary. Now we're gonna align that product itself. And to keep the product a bit of tight portion, so what I'm gonna do for this div itself, for the class name, I'm gonna make a border, background color should be white, and rounded should be empty. So you can see a particular ratio. So that's the one. From this motion we're gonna keep it like that. Okay, let's start working on that. Now on that div here, I'm gonna make some class name here, which should be, I'm gonna pass a border. Padding, I'm going to pass a border bottom, and padding should be, let's say 2.5, so it will be around 10 pixel. And for the last one, I don't want that border bottom should be seeing here, so should be border bottom should be 0. And also making a flex, and it will be item should be center, justify between, I'm going to provide a gap of 5. So 2 layer of item it will be there. As you see, the product image, and another is the price rationing or others. Okay, so now instead of that price, first I'm going to render the image. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this one out right now. And for after that, I'm going to pass a div here. In the div, if we have that product.images, and we're going to render our image properties. If we have that product images, actually I'm going to render a div here. On the div, I'm going to just make that our image properties. Okay, image. So on the source, it will be URL4, and on that I'm going to passing that product.images, and I'm going to get the first images, and I'm going to hit that back to the URL. And also for the alternative tag, it should be that our product image. And after that, also passing that width of 500, height of 500, as the image going to be coming from the Sanity. And I'm going to make that loading should be not loader, should be loading, should be lazy loading. So once the product is coming, the loading should be affected. As you see that we have 1 image, 2 image, 3 image, but it's not looks so good. We need to make it looks good. So first I'm going to go and put some class name over here. Class name, it should be passing, I think the top layer we're going to pass the class name. So the class name, I'm going to make it a flex, and flex should be 1. Okay, flex should be 1, so it will take the entire gravity over there. Item should be centered. I'm going to put a gap of 2, and height should be from this instance 36, and mid-level height should be 44. So it will not be compressed. So you know the thing is working, but the image we need to work on that. And for the div here, border should be there, padding should be 0.5, and also MD padding should be 1, margin right should be 2, and rounded should be MD, overflow should be hidden. I'm gonna make it as a group. So whenever I hover from there should be some action. You see the difference and gap is here, but the image is just overflowing. We need to make it looks perfect. So class name width should be 32, and also I'm gonna make mid-level width should be 40. So entire 40 width should be coming aligned, and height should be 32. Mid-layer height should be 40. Okay, so I believe why, what's wrong here? Okay, save. You see that image? That's the same image ratio which we have, just need to see the property value. And object should be object need to be cover. So 40 object should be cover. That's it, like that. Now what I'm gonna do here, whenever I'm gonna make it in the group and hover, I want to make it scale, and that scale should be 105, and overflow should be hidden. I'm gonna make that, I'm gonna just pass that hover effect. Okay, that's it. If we see, okay, now instead of writing the div, what I believe to make it as to go with the link parameter. And why? Remember, once we just href on that, remember how we want to go back on that. We want to go to our product, and then it should be / and then make say product dot slack dot current. So it will take back us to our single product. You see, if we click on there, okay, I think okay, I think I misspelled that properties, so should not be in that way. Okay, what's use client directive? That's something annoying. Okay, product for okay, server use external is true, only works in client component at the use content at the top of the file. Okay, so I believe in somewhere in the single products property we made some mistake. Okay, let us find it where we did that. That's the product, that's our product properties. We didn't have that before, but now we are facing it. Okay, what's wrong where we did that? Because previously we are rendering one product and it was working perfectly fine. Okay, add to cart. Yeah, add to cart button. So last time we work in the add to cart, you see that use store we use, but we didn't make it as the use client flag. Okay, need to put it in the top. Done. I think that was the problem only. Okay, product is working. Go back to the home and go back to the cart, and if we come back here and we click on that, you see, okay, go, that's working. So that's sometimes, so if you are in previous build, you can get an error, but we know how to fix it if you just go and fix and go one by one. So right now, as we did that property here, so we can now link through our pages like our products, and we can go back directly and properly. So I think that's our image. And after that particular image tag, so now we can also make that passing another div where we're gonna pass the details value, and on the div I'm gonna take another portion of div, then I'm gonna pass an h2 tag. One, it will take that our product dot name. So we're gonna grab the product name right here. You see, this looks cool. And after the product name, another p tag should be passing that product dot intro, and after that p tag another one should be passing that variant, and on that variant passing a span tag should be passing that our product dot variant. So the product variant would be aligned here, and after that again another p tag which going to pass that status, and that status going to be passing our product dot status. Okay, so till now I think that's enough for this show. As you see, if we click on that delete product add to February, so many things is going to think. So later on we're going to create that. First this portion, then the second portion going to render. So this is coming from one div, then it's gonna be taking another div to pass that, like you can say that icons would be rendered here. So now at the top layer of the div, for the class name should be height should be full of the parent height, and then I'm gonna make it a flex should be 1, flex 1 to take all the properties is required. and I'm gonna make that item should be start, and also flex should be column, justify between, padding y should be 1. So you see it's coming top notch. Now on the div itself, I'm gonna just simply make that a flex. I think instead of flex property, I can just simply make that space y, which should be, let's say, 1.5. I think that's enough, no need to make the flex. Okay, for that h2 font, I'm gonna make the semi bold, and also I'm gonna make it line clamp 1, so it will not go bigger than 1 line. I think we are making the same interesting things here. And for the p tag itself, for the class name, text should be sm, and text should be light color, and font should be medium. So that will be the component here. For that p tag, also passing that class name. And here in the p tag, I'm going to make the text should be sm, capitalize, and for the span tag itself, it will be a little bit like class name, font should be semi bold. As you see, a little bit bolder. I think the same movement which we created here, and the same thing it will be for the another p tag. Not this one, should be class name. Okay, that should be our last p tag here, and we're gonna just render this span tag like that. So now we have a status. It's time to get back our icons, and to render that icon we will provide, remember we have the tooltip. Once you're hovering any of the icon, you see the delete product, add to favorite, those things is coming. So we're gonna render this with that same scenario. So tooltip provider, import from the components, and here in the okay, let me see from where it's just imported. That's we need to be configured. So tooltip provider, it's just coming from component UI tooltip. Otherwise it's coming from the Radix, it will provide a bunch of error here. So we're gonna pass the tooltip. So in that tooltip, we're gonna also pass that tooltip trigger. Okay, so on that trigger, we're gonna pass that tooltip component. So let's say tooltip component. So in the tooltip component, it will be, let's say, add to favorite, and I think that should be below of the tooltip trigger. So in the tooltip trigger, it should be providing the parameter. So it will take that heart icon, so heart from Lucid React, and here we're gonna put a class name which should be 4, height should be 4, and also md skin which should be 5, and md height should be 5, and after that text should be gray of 5. I think for the text I'm gonna provide this one here, class name, text should be gray of 500, and once I'm gonna hover on that, text should be, let's say, red of 600. Gonna pass that hover effect. So that's the icon. If we hover, you see add to favorite is rendering. And for the tooltip content here, for the class name, I'm gonna make that font should be bold, just to passing an extra layer. Okay, so add to favorite is working perfectly. And instead of red, I think the green, it should be aligning perfectly. Green, because you're gonna add in the favorite. So that is our one tooltip provider and passing all the values. So this will be one portion here. Now we need to render another property, right? So we have the tooltip provider, so we can just copy that tooltip and we can just paste it here. Instead of that heart, this time it should be like, say, trash icon, and that trash icon, hover, it not be green, it should be red of 600, and that should be passing that delete product. And here font should be bold, but bj should be red of 600. That's it. So now you see, okay, if we click delete product, now one by one, if it's coming over here, we're gonna make it a flex item center, passing a gap of 2. You see it will be side by side. Now once we click on the delete, our item should be deleted, right? So we're gonna just passing simply an on click event, and on click it will just passing a simple function here. On that function we're gonna pass two separate things which are going to be handle. Okay, we can just simply pass that handle delete product, and on here we're gonna pass that product dot underscore id. So now we will be able to delete that product with that simple functionality. Either we can do it, I think in you can, okay, we're gonna do it in top. This is lots of messy around here. So const handle delete product. Here it's gonna take the id, which is going to be coming as a string, and after that what it's gonna do, it's gonna just delete card product, and we're gonna just simply pass the id, and also you're gonna pass that toast.success, and we're gonna pass that we're gonna just say we're gonna pass the name of that product, not process. Okay, we need to pass the name if you want to showcase the name. I think no need. We can just simply pass that product deleted successfully. That's it. Okay, save. Now if we just click on that, okay, it's not deleting. Why? What's wrong here? Okay, click. No, it's not deleted. That's something. Okay, if we go and see if we imported, yeah, it's imported. If we go back to handle delete product, that also perfectly aligned. So the product.id we are passing here from the heart. So what's wrong? This should be, and also our toaster is not coming, so we can just see in inspect if we are messing anything up. So here delete. Okay, no, we are not seeing anything here. So first what I'm gonna do, I'm going to simply make the log just to see if it's working. Actually, did we clicking there where we write the function? That's is okay, we write it in the heart. It should not be in the heart, it should be in the trash icon. Yeah, that was the problem. Now if we click, okay, product deleted. That's simple it is. So now if, as we are having that, our properties is done. So we have this whole scenario here as the link. We have our one case where we are showcasing the product and other ratio. Now what we need to do, we need to create this another item properties which should be aligned with like after the tooltip provider. So I believe there is the tooltip provider div. So we have been finished that. And I think after this layer we can now come here and make another div. So here we can just pass that price formatter, and in that price formatter itself we can pass the price. So the amount should be, let's say, product dot price, and that price should be as number, and here we can pass that item count, right? So the item count, we need to take it at the top. That's why we create this one. So the item count should be, let's say, const item count should be get item count, and we're gonna pass that product.id. So you're gonna pass our item count from there whenever we are passing the value into item count. So right now we should be able to see one price. You see that price is right here. And for the div itself, we will make that like say flex column item start, items start justify between, height should be 36, md height should be 44, padding should be 0.5, and md padding should be 1. So that's how we're gonna implement that. And after that amount, we can also make that class name, font should be bold, text should be LG. So the large text should be appearing. Okay, after that price text, we will also pass that quantity buttons, which will provide us the card and other properties like the price ratio. It's simply just pass the property here. As you see, we can add, product is added, the same thing here which we are doing, product is added. I think that's really cool on that sense. Now after this button, like the product here, we will simply generate one button which will say receipt cards. Okay, so on that I'm gonna just make that class name should be margin should be 5 and font should be semi bold, and I'm going to pass a variant. The variant should be, let's say, destructive. Done. So that is our button here. Once we click, we okay, that is our button here. Once we click, we want something to happen. Like once we make that on click event here, should be handle receipt cart. Okay, cool. So this function will help us to receipt our entire cart the way we are looking forward to. So I'm going to copy that, and after removing that handle cart itself, we can now make that handle receipt. So I'm going to make it top of that cost handle receipt. And here what I'm going to make that const confirmed, and it should be equal to window dot confirm. So I'm going to take the confirm from the window. Are you sure to receive your cart? So that's the confirmation we want. So now if that confirmed is okay, what we want to make that receipt card, and also we're going to pass that toast.success. We're going to say that your card receipt successfully. That's it. So like by mistake you click on here, it will give you the pop-up. Are you sure? Like that, are you sure to receive your card? If you say yes, done, you can discover the product. So right now you can add more product the way you want. So as you see in the cart level here, we can now view the product. We can go over here, we can decrease it, we can increase it the way we want. So now as we are dealing on that particular instances, is in the order summary itself, we can now move a bit to make a clear picture here, by which we can show what kind of scenario we are preferring here to go by. So to do that, as we are here on that summary ratio, so the order summary, we have the button here. After that, I think after that h2, I'm going to provide a div where I'm going to take another div, and on that I'm going to pass an spend tag, the subtotal, which going to be, let's say, also passing that price formatter. And on that formatter, amount should be, let's say amount, it should be get subtotal price. So that will give us all the subtotal value. Remember, we created that one instantly, so it will provide all the subtotal price formula. You see, so that's the one. I think we need to go in this store. So if we just go back here, okay, let's go down here in the subtotal. You can see we are returning all the item value, and we are getting that actual price, you see, and we are adding the discount. So there is a two price, one is the normal price, one is the discount price. So along with that, we are getting the subtotal price here. So now okay, I think we'll close that, and I'm gonna go here. So if we save here, you see the subtotal is 497.95. So now we can depend on it and make it looks better way. So class name space y should be, let's say, a 4. Okay, so now also put a class name. We're gonna make flex justify should be not center but between. And for that spend tag itself, I think I'm gonna make it like simple as it is. So you see, looks good. And for the price formatter, you can make the price bigger. I think what I keep the same way. So yeah, that looks good. After the div itself, we can take another div. The same thing, span should be discount. And here we're gonna pass that price formatter. Now we will pass the discounted price. So the amount should be, it should be get total subtotal price minus it should be get the total price. So we have one actual price. By minusing that, we're getting the subtotal price. So the discount is 45.9, and I'm gonna just copy this layer here and paste here. Done. So we have total, subtotal itself. So okay, space y is the 0, should be minus, so the gap it will just coming up. Now as we done here, after the div itself, I'm gonna pass a separator. Okay, so our separator is right here. Now we need to combine that our total value. total value is pretty simple. So if we just pass that div here, so also span tag, we will pass the total value in that price format. So total value should be our, let's say, amount, and that amount should be get total price, right? And also for the class name, text should be LG, font should be, let's say, bold, and text should be fully black. Okay, and for the div itself, for the class name, flex justify between. That's it. So you have 442. So if we just individually, like I will decrease some product from here. Now we have 2 items only. Okay, and I'm gonna open my calculator just to combine if we are working perfectly or not. So we have 2 products, right? One item is 315, another is 34. So we have 349, right? Now this is a discount over there. With the discount calculation, we are adding here extra so that we have subtotal. Then after passing the discount, we're getting that actual price. So that's how we did that one. So we need to make that checkout button itself and other properties. So after the div, we will render one button. Okay, that button, it will say proceed to checkout. Okay, that's the button, it will be there. And also we will be rendering one link properties. So in that link, which will be saying that href, right now we will check that href. I'm going to just render it to the home, and we will pass that a logo here. So I need to import that logo, which will be a PayPal logo here. So let's say import PayPal logo from images, not that one, PayPal logo. Okay, so let's come over here in that link parameter. I'm going to just simply passing that image, and that should be the image. A source should be PayPal logo, and also alternative tag should be PayPal logo, and put a class name which should be 20. Right now I'm going to keep it as simple as it that way. So first let's go in that button. On that button, put a class name which should be full, and rounded should be full, font should be semi-bold, tracking should be white. Okay, and I think we need to provide the size. We will also provide the size here instead of p tag. The size should be LG. Now instead of that padding, we can provide the size. Okay, cool. And after that button, right now we can also make that one looks in a good way, the class name. And here we will make that one as, I think how we want to do that, as a width of 5. So we need to make everything should be center aligned, and also going to be a border. So I'm going to first make the text center. Is it gonna work? Why I'm making the text center? There is no text itself. So I'm gonna make it a flex item center, justify center, padding y should be 2. I think we're good. And we're gonna pass a border, and border should be dark color and with a 50% opacity. Okay, rounded full, that's also working perfectly. And hover border should be okay, hover border should be, what's wrong with me, border should be dark color. And also let's say hover bj should be dark color with 5% opacity, and I'm going to pass that hover effect properties here. As you see, okay, this one also okay. I think that's the same thing. Okay, right now we're good. So now there is two separate things need to be combined. As you see, once you're coming a smaller screen is getting fixed, right? So these properties also need to be aligned. So right now, if we just check over here, if with the smaller screen, you see we doesn't have anything here. So this one is hidden and that one is disappear. So right now, after the empty screen here, so after that is disappearing, we need to also grab this property here. And to implement that, how we can grab this one, so we have the link this div. So that's after the 2 and 3 div here, we need to provide like passing that order summary for mobile view. Okay, so it will be for mobile view. So like as you see, if we can just render this link here, you just make this one close. So summary view here, so this one is just coming in LG Clsx, and you see we are making it hidden by itself. So in MD we are just making inline block. So now what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take another div, and that div by itself, put a class name. In MD screen it will be hidden, right? It will not be seen, but we're gonna make it as a fixed view, and it will be bottom 0, left should be 0, width should be full, and also BG should be white, and after that padding top should be 2. So something going to be coming here, which is you can see in right now. You see that's the, we need to put the value here, only then it will be provided. I'm going to pass another div, and here put a class name. BJ should be white. I think background already we're putting white, so no need that. Padding should be 4 here, and rounded should be LG. I'm going to put a border, and MX should be 4. Okay, let's just put that text value, just something here. So if we are coming here, is it rendering? Is there? Okay, is it static route? Is there? This the one right here. So it's supposed to be something like that. Okay, cool. So now what we're gonna do, as we are just portioning everything, I'm gonna just copy those things from the top and just gonna align here. Okay, so all the previous value at the top, I'm gonna just cut it from this portion. Okay, I'm gonna just cut that from this portion, and here I'm gonna paste that. So let's go at the top, entire things here we have, like in the summary, on the div itself, you see that at the mid level of the div, whatever we just try here, we're gonna copy that, and then we're gonna pass it here. Okay, we make some mistake here. I don't know where we did that, but okay, I think we are passing some different value. Okay, right now we're gonna go in a very slow-mo portion. So we have the h2, we have that div. Okay, this 2 is separate. Okay, these 2 only, and we need to implement here. Okay, so now as you see, the same scenario which we created, but this time it's not. You see, also in the product. Okay, is it okay? Yeah. Okay, is it cool? Because it's just a simple ratio, so anyone can view and see that data here. So now if we just go and make it in a bigger ratio, you see, it's cool. And also if we just go and add some more product, that time it would be more interesting. So click and add some more product, click and go back here for the small ratio in the cart. So as you see, it's rendering. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's not bad. There's a lot of things you can do, but it's an easy way to just go and forecast to like align the menu in proper way. So now as we are dealing with that particular instances here, it's our high time to combine with that to create our checkout. To create the checkout is, as you see, we have the 2 button here. So these 2 buttons singularly, that both button going to be aligned with our payment method. So that is our one button, and that is our another button. So both button going to be coming that, let's say const, let's say on click. Why is it on click? Handle checkout. So that's the one we will create for both instances. Let's go at the top. We will create our checkout button here. It's lots of things we are pouring. You can make it like separate the concern if you want. So const handle checkout here. It will be like, say, right now we're gonna pass that toast dot error checkout on process, and click checkout on process. Smaller screen, click checkout on process. So both one is working. So this is our time to go and clarify the number properties, and we're gonna use to create our checkout using that for our Stripe. And we're gonna also go with try to integrate the other properties. We'll see how to implement all of this.